something felt off, and nobody wanted to say it out loud. Cleetus McFarland just got shut down for Talladega, and then, out of nowhere, he's back? Yeah, that doesn't just happen. Because a few days ago, the entire conversation around him was basically over. People were saying NASCAR had quietly hit the brakes, that they were telling him, slow down, prove more, maybe you're not ready. And now suddenly, he's got another start locked in. Same series, same top-tier team, another shot. So what changed? Because this isn't just a comeback. This feels like something bigger is shifting behind the scenes. And that's not even the craziest part. We're going to break down how that Talladega rejection spiraled into something way more emotional than anyone expected, why fans started taking sides, what actually happened in the race that nobody thought would matter, and the moment that flipped one of NASCAR's biggest critics. Then, we'll get to the part nobody saw coming. His return, where it's happening, what it really means, and why this next race could decide everything. But first, you need to understand why this situation exploded in the first place. Because Cleetus McFarland, Garrett Mitchell, isn't just some random creator jumping into NASCAR for clicks. He's one of the biggest automotive personalities in the country, millions watching, years in motorsports, a fan base that actually shows up, which is exactly why this got uncomfortable. On one side, NASCAR did what you'd expect. They slowed it down. Steve O'Donnell made it clear. This isn't about hype. It's race by race. It's progression. You don't just skip steps. Not at this level. Translation? Not yet. And honestly, after Rockingham, you could see why. P32, 6 laps down, close calls, a spin. It wasn't clean. And NASCAR looked at Talladega and said, yeah, this isn't the place to learn. Because that track, that's chaos at 200 miles per hour. But here's where things got messy. Fans didn't see it that way. They didn't see development. They saw someone getting held back. They saw a guy bringing attention, bringing energy, getting judged harder because every mistake was under a microscope. And that's where the tension really started. Because now it wasn't about performance anymore, it was about fairness. And whether NASCAR was protecting the sport or protecting the system. That's the part nobody agrees on. And honestly, that's why this blew up. Because underneath all of it, there's a bigger question sitting there. Do you fast-track someone who brings eyes to the sport? Or do you make them grind through every step like everyone else? That tension, it hasn't gone away. If anything, it's getting worse. But then, something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Rockingham. And no, it wasn't impressive on paper. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't a headline, but it mattered. Because he survived, and in NASCAR, that means more than people admit. He didn't wreck the field, didn't lose control of the moment, didn't fold under pressure, and for someone under that kind of spotlight, that's not nothing. And then, the same weekend, he finishes 4th in ARCA East. Now, suddenly, the story isn't so simple anymore. Now it's like, wait, maybe there's something here. And this is where things take a turn. Because one voice in particular changed everything. Kyle Petty. Before the race, he was skeptical, loud about it too, questioning whether popularity was skipping the line, saying NASCAR is elite, that it means something. But after Rockingham, his tone changed. If you're going to criticize, you've got to give credit. That line hit harder than people realize. Because that's not just respect, that's a shift. That's someone saying, I doubted this, and now I'm not so sure. And in NASCAR, that doesn't happen easily. So now the conversation changes again. Not, why is he here? But, what if he actually belongs? And Cleetus didn't make it worse either. No ego, no fake confidence. He said it straight. I got my butt kicked, but I finished. That honesty? It builds trust fast. Because fans can feel what's real and what isn't. And then, Kansas. And nobody is really talking about this. But they should be. Because before everything went wrong, he was running top 10. Climbing from 25th into the fight. That's pace. Real pace. And then the engine blows. Gone. On paper, it disappears. But inside the sport, people notice that. And his reaction? Not frustration, excitement. Like he saw something. Like he knows he's closer than people think. And that's where things start getting interesting. Because NASCAR said it themselves. Race by race. Progression. So now you have Rockingham showing control. Kansas showing speed. And suddenly, that Talladega rejection doesn't feel like a stop sign anymore. It feels like a setup. Because now comes the part nobody expected. He's back. Nashville Superspeedway. May 30th. Same RCR car, same opportunity. But this time, it feels different. Because if this had happened right after Talladega, it would have felt like a consolation prize. A backup plan. But now it feels earned. And that changes everything. Even the way he announced it. No hype. No arrogance. Talking about training. Simulator work. Still figuring things out. That tone? That's dangerous. In a good way. Because it means he knows exactly where he stands. And Nashville. It's not easy. Not chaos like Talladega. But not forgiving either. This is where skill shows up. This is where mistakes linger. So what happens next? That's the real question. Because if he puts together a clean, composed, controlled race, this story explodes. But if he struggles, the critics come right back, louder than before. Either way, people are watching. And that's the part you can't ignore anymore. This isn't just a side story. Every time he gets in that car, eyes follow. Debate follows. Pressure follows. So now it comes down to this. Was Talladega a warning? Or the moment that forced him to level up? Because Nashville? That's not just another race. That's the test. And depending on what happens there, everything changes. So tell me, do you think this is the moment he proves everyone wrong? Or is NASCAR right to hold the line? Because one thing's clear now, this story isn't slowing down.